There are 5 trends that are shaping the future of work today, which are necessitating this change for all managers to become leaders. So there are 5 things happening within our companies. The first one is globalization. Globalization is essentially living in a world where boundaries of any kind do not exist. The culture that you subscribe to, the language that you speak, where you're located, the currency that you transact in, all of these things are starting to matter less and less and less. The whole world is becoming just like one big city. That's the first trend. The second trend that we're seeing is around mobility. A couple years ago, a college friend of mine and myself, we went to China for a month, just for fun. And we went to all the major Chinese provinces, Yunnan, Shanghai, Beijing. And in one of these provinces, we thought it would be fun to rent bikes and just go bike out in the middle of nowhere. So we rent these bikes, we get water, we get some food, and we bike out for hours in the middle of nowhere. We stop, get some water, look around, it's beautiful. 70 degrees, which is, I think, around 25 or 20 degrees Celsius. Look around, it's beautiful. Clear skies, huge mountains everywhere, rice paddy fields, green fields. It's gorgeous. And so we're just sitting there admiring the view thinking, man, this is great. And not too far away from us, there's a rice paddy field. And in the rice paddy field, there's a farmer. And I look at the farmer for a minute, just observing and seeing what he's doing for his daily chores. And he stops for a minute and he looks at us and he puts his hand in his pocket.
Do you want to hear something really crazy? 96% of the people who watch videos on this channel are not subscribed. Can you do me a favor and help me change that number by subscribing to this YouTube channel? Thank you very much.
And he takes out a smartphone. Now, I live in San Francisco, which many people consider to be the tech and innovation hub of the world. We're thousands of miles away from San Francisco, in the middle of nowhere in a rice paddy field. And there is a farmer in the middle of the rice paddy field with a smartphone. That is mobility. It doesn't matter where you are. As long as you can get access to the web, you can get your job done anytime, anywhere, and on any device. And I found it fascinating that this person was able to get access to the same people and information that I was able to get access to living in the Bay Area. The third trend that we're seeing is around millennials. Right? Millennials are supposed to be 50% of the workforce by 2020, 75% of the workforce by 2025. They're digital natives. They have new expectations and values and ideas and ways of working, and they're really forcing a lot of our organizations to change. Now, it's important to remember that it's not just about millennials, right? There are plenty of other generations that are at play here besides millennials. But since millennials are going to become the majority of the workforce, they're really forcing our organizations to change. The fourth trend that we're seeing is around technology. Big data, wearables, like the one I have on my wrist here. The cloud, collaboration platforms, the Internet of Things. All of these technologies are transforming the ways that we work, why we work, where we can work, and how we get our jobs done. And the fifth and final trend that we're seeing is around new behaviors. If I were to find any of you 10, 15 years ago and say, hey, one day I'm going to know everything about you. I'm going to know the movies that you like. I'm going to see your entire professional history on LinkedIn. I'll know who you're connected with, where you're traveling. I'll know the restaurants that you eat at. I'll know where you live. I'll know everything about you. And you won't have to tell me any of it. You'd probably think that I'm nuts. Yet look at the world that we live in now. We put up reviews of restaurants and places that we visit on TripAdvisor or Yelp. We put up pictures on Instagram and on Facebook. We have our entire professional histories on LinkedIn. We put up our ideas and thoughts on Twitter. We have blogs. We live such a public life. We expect feedback and communication and collaboration to happen in very, very different ways. And so these are new behaviors that we're starting to see that are entering our organizations. And so these 5 things are really forcing us to rethink the purpose of our organization. And see, ever since our organizations have been created, we've had this very fundamental assumption around why companies exist. And that assumption has worked for the past 100 years, but it's not working anymore. And that assumption is that organizations can create a place where employees need to work there. In other words, we all have expenses, we all have bills, we all have mortgages, we all have kids. We have to pay for these things. And so we need to work at an organization to survive, to live, to thrive, to grow. It's our only way. You need to work at an organization. But look at where we are today. You don't have to work at a company anymore. You can raise money on Indiegogo or Kickstarter. You can work for a startup. You can create a profile on Elance and Odesk and become a freelancer. You can go work for Uber or Lyft. You can create products and services and sell them on Etsy. You can 3D print things, right? The opportunities for us to generate income and to survive and grow and live as people has dramatically increased and changed. And that means that the war for talent has never been greater, because the number one asset that all of our organizations have to bring people in has always been cash. That's how we attract and retain the top talent. We pay them more. That doesn't work anymore. And so what's happening is that organizations are having to shift their mentality away from creating an environment where people need to work there to creating an organization where people want to work there. You have to create an environment where people want to be there. And the only way that we can start to create that type of environment where people want to be there is by making sure that all of our managers at our organizations are leaders. If we want to create a place where employees are engaged and inspired and they bring their hopes, their dreams, their passions, their fears, their creativity, if we want to create an environment where they bring all of these things to work with them every day, then we have to make sure that all of the people within our organizations, all of these managers are indeed leaders. And I think there are a couple of things that we can start doing. Number one, especially within our educational institutions, we have to stop teaching managers and leaders as two separate things. They need to be taught as intertwined disciplines. You can't have one without the other. You just can't. We also need to mentor a lot of these leaders that we have within our organizations, these people that are capable of engaging and in building trust, but don't have the skills to move up within our company. We need to find these people that other people trust and want to be around. We need to find the people that engage and inspire and empower. And those are the people that we need to be giving the opportunities to. So we need to coach and mentor them. And finally, we need to be taking these leaders, and these are the people that we should be creating and making managers within our company.